SMT Nation, we back. We're going to be talking about networks today, the big three, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, and how they ranked in the Cleveland Root Awards, the Root Metrics testing for the second half of 2022. So we're going to recap those, the different data points, and how things turned out this half. And then we're going to look at things nationally. And there's some things to celebrate from all three carriers. Goes to show you that the money is being spent and the networks are getting better and better. All right, I want to first start with overall performance. All three scored above a 99 rating. This, my friends, is where you want to be. You want your markets where you live, work, where you spend a lot of your time, travel, all those things. You want all three of the major networks to be at parity. You want it to a point where you can choose your carrier over anything else, the network reliability and speeds and all of those things. You want them to be neck and neck competing fiercely for network excellence. According to Root, all three have it here in the CLE. So this is a big turnout for all three carriers. So this is the overall performance rating. Actually, AT&T technically wins it because 99.4 is higher than a 99.2 shared by Verizon and T-Mobile. All right, now when it comes to network reliability here, AT&T took the cake at a 99.7 rating, T-Mobile at 99.2, as well as Verizon 99.2. You can't lose with the three, right? Network accessibility went to T-Mobile, 98.9, Verizon at 97.6, and AT&T at 97.5. Network speeds also to T-Mobile. They rated a 99.9, Verizon 99.3, and AT&T 97.8. Now, this one is interesting. Like, I don't know the exact threshold of how they judge speed. AT&T is a pretty fast network here, so I'm a little surprised by the 97.8 being so far away from Verizon and T-Mobile. And then data performance, T-Mobile took that metric as well, 99.8, Verizon 98.9, AT&T 98.8. And then for call performance, AT&T and Verizon both had a 99.7 or higher. Actually, AT&T at 99.9. So that's something I want to highlight here, as T-Mobile came in with a 98.4. Based on these estimations, and they left this this note here, AT&T did not record any mobile-to-mobile blocked or dropped calls during testing. That's why they rated them a 99.9. That would indicate that maybe Verizon dropped a call during this time, but T-Mobile probably dropped several. So calling still an issue at T-Mobile, regardless of how fast their network can be. Calling is still troublesome for them. I'm going to kind of lean towards tower densities continuing to be a problem, as they still have not densified enough to allow for really good, solid, clean handoffs from one tower to another. And they haven't done small cells yet for on any noticeable level. Additionally, here the text performance, they're all good, 99.3 or higher. That's really not an issue on any carrier. But something that's noticeable here for the speeds, AT&T increased their median download speed from 52 megabits to 126 megabits for an increase of 142%. Bravo, the upgrades for C-band probably really paying dividends there. AT&T really scaling them nicely here. And then T-Mobile increased by 45%. That's really good. And I think they went from like 250 to 360. That's really good. Even after all the upgrades over the last couple of years, continuing to upgrade outdated sites and modernizing. And I think also, just getting better backhaul in certain places, upgrading them, to higher capacity circuits. And then Verizon increased their downlink speeds by 100% from 42 to 84 megabits per second. All right, so you're seeing really good things here in the CLE. I can confirm a lot of these experiences by Root is basically what I see. They did 1 week of testing in Cleveland. I'll show you guys the map of where they tested. All right, so they went as far northeast, right on the edge of Pennsylvania. This is typically where I test, right? From like right on the edge of like Lorain County, where Sheffield Lake is, down to like areas here. God, Strongsville, I'm always there. Brunswick, I'm there as well. I test in all these places, North Royalton. I kind of stop right around this area here. I don't really go too far into the eastern suburbs just because I don't really have any business out there. But they definitely tested a nice amount of space here. This is essentially Cuyahoga County. throughout most of the space. It includes a couple of airports, it includes hotels, restaurants. I mean, they probably went all over the place. All right, so they did some extensive testing. It's really, really nice though, right? If you think about a year ago, T-Mobile's median downlink speed was 149 megabits per second. They have essentially more than doubled it. AT&T was losing downlink speed a year ago, right? They have more than doubled it, right? And there are all sorts of fears that fixed wireless access and home internet was going to be slowing down, Verizon and T-Mobile, and that's not happening here at all, right? It just has not. So it may be impacting places across the country, but just not here in Cleveland. That hasn't happened. Now, I want to kind of get out of the Cleveland state of mind here, and I want to turn your attention here, and I'm going to link all this stuff in the description. I want you guys to look at the sheer number of markets that were won by each of the companies. All right, you guys can scroll. It'll be on the right-hand side when you visit the website. 124 of 125 markets have been uploaded, so there's probably one more that needs to be updated, and then the root report can be generated. I don't need that last market to draw this conclusion. T-Mobile has come a long way. All right, we're talking about T-Mobile now has one outright win. It's actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So good for T-Mobile getting one outright win. All right, where neither Verizon nor AT&T were able to tie with them there. But in terms of wins or ties, T-Mobile has 17 of the 124 markets. Good for them. All right, they were never this good in the history of their company. All right, so they are clearly improving to the point where they are now winning markets. All right, so there goes the narrative of root metrics being paid off by Verizon, right? Anyways, AT&T, let's give them some love too. They have 3 outright wins. Youngstown, Ohio is one of them. And they are tied or outright wins in 37 markets. So they have come a long way too, because these awards from Root have historically been absolutely dominated by Verizon. And they still are, but less so. Verizon had 71 outright wins for the Root 2022 second half. Let that sink in. 71 outright wins. Wins or ties in 110 of the 124 tested markets. The narrative that Verizon is an unreliable network, an unusable network, a congested network, I don't see how this is possible. If you look at all 124 markets that are published here with reports, how can one derive that Verizon is congested and Verizon is unusable? These markets have millions of people. Cleveland, Ohio, just this area that was tested, what they say it was like 1.8 million people. There's no indication of speeds being unusable or the network being congested. You don't win awards from a testing firm that analyzes and evaluates network excellence if you're a trash network. Are there places where Verizon has let their network become outdated? Absolutely. But you cannot characterize certain places as a national perspective. When you look at 124 markets, Verizon has wins or ties in 110 of them. That is a staple of network excellence. When you are the best or one of the best in 110 markets out of 124, that is an excellence metric. How you feel about Verizon in your market is not necessarily indicative of this report, and I understand that, and it's fine. I'm not discrediting you, but you can't discredit Root. These are people who went out and bought Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus phones for each network and randomized tested. Literally, the tests just run in the background as they drive around and walk into places. And they evaluate the networks accordingly. According to Root, every carrier is showing improved performance. According to Root, T-Mobile has network excellence in 17 places where they previously weren't able to achieve this. Root is the staple of network evaluations. I'm not here to question them. I don't have the authority because I don't do this for a living and I'm not a professional at this. I use it as a benchmark. I use it as a data point to evaluate the network excellence for each of the big three networks. This is just one data point of that. There are other things. There's ookla speed testing, and then there's like open signal. There's all types of firms. You can look at all those data points and derive from it what you will. I use Root because Root's been doing this for a while. And I think it's pretty accurate. When I look at Cleveland, that sounds about right. It seems right to me in my experiences. Is T-Mobile the fastest in my market? Generally speaking, yes. Is T-Mobile most likely to drop a call in my market? Root says yes, and I say yes because it's happened to me. I use all three networks. Has AT&T gotten faster? Yes. Has T-Mobile, all these things that their report indicates is true of my market. And I test and travel the market. I don't just evaluate the networks on my commute to work. In and around the county, as I do my rounds for the family business, right? As I make my trips and I do my testing, these are the things that I see. Who am I to argue their data as they've collected it? So the narrative, we actually have disproved a few narratives. The narrative that Verizon is nationally congested network, that can be put on ice. That is not the case. They are network excellence in the most places. Could they have trouble in other places? Absolutely, and I'm sure they do. Right? I've been in places where Verizon struggled with outdated sites and there was very little capacity available. I've seen that. I've experienced that. And then look at AT&T, how far they've come, and look at how far nobody has improved more than T-Mobile, right? I think this is good. I see this as wins for all of us as the consumer. Another false narrative is that fixed wireless access is crushing network capacity, not according to the data. Networks continue to get faster and get more reliable, at least not in Cleveland, maybe in some places, but not here. All right, so that's going to be situation by situation. All right, so what do you guys think of this? Check out your market, see if it's accurate. I'd like to see what you guys are kind of indicating in the comment section. I'll link the root score map here for you with all the cities, and you guys can check it out. But Nikki T, I know you're going to have fun with this one, man. Big shout out to you. I know you like these numbers. You're kind of like me, man. We like to evaluate things nationally. There's a national perspective, folks. I know there's not a lot of rural involved in this and all of that, but what do you want me to do? This is the data. All right. I don't know of any testing firms that go and test AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile in towns with a population of 350, or towns with a population of 80, or towns with a population of 1,000. I don't. They go where there's millions of people, where the networks are being built out. You evaluate where most of the country is, right? I would guess that of these 124, 125 markets, it's probably where 80% or more of the people live. So what are we really testing here, right? To what end do we have to go out and test rural America? We can't really. I mean, who's going to do it? But anyways, what do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links are in the description for all things going on with the channel. Big shout out to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for making content on this channel possible. You're all the goats. Thank you so much for supporting me. And we out this piece. Peace.